At Children's of Alabama, we're committed to following the laws and regulations governing our work. This is the first commitment in our code of conduct: obey the law. And our corporate compliance and internal audit department helps us do this. While most organizations offer incentives to show appreciation to customers or attract new business, hospital and physician relationships are unique. The federal government, which pays for a large amount of healthcare costs, is very strict about financial arrangements between hospitals and physicians. There are laws in place to ensure that physicians and hospitals are operating in the patient's best interest rather than their own financial interest. In this video, we'll discuss two of these: the Stark Law, which applies to physician referrals, and the Anti-Kickback Statute, which applies to everyone in the healthcare delivery system. First, the Stark Law. Violations of this law can result in exclusion from Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement. The Stark Law prohibits a physician from referring patients for health services to an entity with which the physician or immediate family member has a financial relationship. Plus, the entity cannot bill for such health services. These health services include lab tests, physical and occupational therapy, imaging services, radiation services, parenteral or nutritional services, inpatient or outpatient hospital services, or outpatient prescription drugs. A financial relationship means that the physician or family member either owns, has an investment in, or has a compensation arrangement with the healthcare facility. A compensation arrangement is any type of arrangement that has monetary value, such as employment, compensation for medical director position, or leasing office space to or from a physician. Compensation arrangements also include situations like providing nurse practitioner medical services free of charge or giving a gift to a physician. Does this mean Children's can't rent space to or from a physician who refers patients here? Does it mean we can't have a medical director agreement with a physician who refers patients here? No, because the Stark Law does have some exceptions. These exceptions include employment, personal services arrangements, space and equipment leases, physician recruitment, non-monetary compensation, medical staff incidental benefits, and academic medical center arrangements. However, Stark Law exceptions have strict requirements. The law states that arrangements have to be in writing and signed by both parties. The property, equipment, or services must be specified. The arrangement must be for at least a one-year term. Compensation must be fair market value and not tied to volume or value of referrals, and the arrangement must be commercially reasonable. While non-monetary compensation and medical staff incidental benefits don't require a written contract or lease, they do have strict dollar thresholds. Non-monetary compensation for calendar year 2020 is $423. Compensation includes items like off-campus meals, gift baskets, event tickets, flowers, office equipment and supplies, and holiday gifts. Gift cards are not allowed. At Children's of Alabama, all non-monetary compensation must be reported to risk management, which tracks the total per physician per year. Strict dollar thresholds also apply to medical staff incidental benefits. Medical staff incidental benefits are items or services offered to the physician that are used while on campus. These items or services must be offered to all members of the medical staff practicing in the same specialty. These items typically include meals, parking, internet access, and pagers. Cash and gift cards are not allowed. The value for each occurrence must be less than $36. For example, each meal provided to a physician while they are on campus making rounds must be valued below $36. To give you an example of how Stark Law exceptions work here at Children's, let's look at mission support as it relates to the University of Alabama Health Services Foundation. Our support of the foundation fits into the Academic Medical Center, or AMC, exception. AMC expenses must support the missions of teaching, indigent care, research, or community service, so it's an easy transition for children's to refer to the academic medical center exception as mission support. To summarize, if a conduct doesn't fit into a Stark exception, the conduct is simply not allowed. Next, let's talk about the federal Anti-Kickback Statute. Violations of this law can result in criminal penalties, such as a prison sentence. The Anti-Kickback Statute prohibits knowingly or willingly giving or receiving money, services, or anything of value in exchange for patient referrals or in exchange for purchasing goods and services, for which payment may be made under federal healthcare programs. Such payments could cause a person or entity to make a referral based on financial interest instead of the patient's best interest or medical needs. And that's not acceptable. A kickback can be as subtle as accepting free point-of-care test cups from a referral lab to obvious kickbacks like accepting cash, gift cards, or gifts from a vendor or supplier in return for purchasing their products. Just as with exceptions to the Stark Law, the Anti-Kickback Statute does provide what are called safe harbors. These are various payment and business practices that the government will not prosecute because there is a low risk of harm. Here are examples of anti-kickback safe harbors. Employment, personal services and management contracts, space and equipment leases, joint ventures and complementary transportation, and certain requirements apply, just as with Stark. The arrangement must be in writing and signed by both parties. Specify the thing being provided, such as property, equipment, or services, be for at least a 1-year term. Compensation must be fair market value and not tied to volume or value of referrals, and must be commercially reasonable. If a conduct doesn't fit into a safe harbor, it might still be in compliance with the Anti-Kickback Statute, but it's subject to a case-by-case analysis. What do fraudulent arrangements look like? The Office of Inspector General, which is the area of federal government that investigates possible infractions by employees or contractors that involves fraud, issued a fraud alert for the following hospital incentive arrangements that were deemed suspect. The use of free or significantly discounted office space or equipment, provision of free or significantly discounted billing, nursing, or other staff services, payment of the cost of physicians' travel and expenses for conferences, payment for a physician's continuing education courses, payment for services which may include consultations at the hospital that require few, if any, substantive duties by the physician, or payment for services in excess of the fair market value of services rendered. Financial relationships with physicians must be reviewed to ensure arrangements are consistent with the Stark Law and the Anti-Kickback Statute. Report arrangements to risk management or to corporate compliance. All arrangements, including physician arrangements, should be reviewed and signed by the children's chief operating officer. It's important to know the hospital's practice when it comes to physician arrangements. Simply put, children's cannot give physicians money or things in order to get referrals, and all physician relationships must comply with the law. If you have questions or need more information, please refer to the Children's of Alabama False Claims Act policy, the non-monetary compensation to physicians and incidental medical staff benefits policy, and your code of conduct, all of which can be found on the Red Wagon. Or contact the Corporate Compliance and Internal Audit Department. Every employee is responsible for knowing the rules and laws that govern our work. These are like guardrails on the interstate. They keep us on track and out of harm's way, so that we can remain one of the best pediatric hospitals in the nation.